Is step 6 for your still life drawing project 2. For step 6, we're going to concentrate on the orange and yellow mug. It'll be a shorter video compared to this very large yellow bucket and the very large shadow that follows it. You're going to need your artwork as well as either the physical image of your their still life, or I'll have this picture posted on this steps page. Pencil, eraser, if you have a big pink eraser or whatever color shape it is, have that available. Pencil sharpener, I'd suggest having, especially when you work with colored pencils. You're going to need your orange and your yellow colored pencil. So for this step, same idea as what we did for the yellow bucket. So again, imagine there's a bright shining light that's shining on these objects, creating those shadows. When I look at this mug, so when you look at it here and we kind of decide, and going back to this page where we talked about those different sections of value and shading, with this one it's a little different. So the darkest area is about right here. So about right here to here is that darkest shade. And then this area right here is a little lighter. And then also if you look over here, it's a little lighter too. And I wonder if the reflection from the yellow bucket is kind of shining onto there. But these two are kind of the same. It's dark, light, and then this is the lightest area over here. So we'll be working with 3 different shades, values, but they're just in different spots. So what I'd like for you to do first with your pencil is mark very lightly those areas and kind of compare. You can look to see about right where this shadow ends inside your cup. That's where the darkest shade starts. So very lightly marking it on your mug drawing. And then about right here is where I would say, so that rectangle, that area is going to be the darkest shade. It'll be lighter all the way to the edge here. And then looking at this, it's kind of a decent sized chunk, I'd say about right to there. So if you can, I'll zoom in. You can see where I marked. I'm going to hold that over so you can really look at it. Okay. So about right here and here. So I would start with your darkest and then work your way to the lightest. I have a finished example I'll kind of show you and explain. So again, you're going to start with your pencil and you're going to shade, and then it just gets lighter around, and then you won't even be touching this with your regular pencil. That'll just be pure orange. So up and down motion, trying to keep it nice and even. Before you start, I would kind of redefine those lines all around that mug. And clean it up. I'm even just going to go ahead and do that to the top, so I'm ready. Some of you probably have already done this. I apologize, I did not get this part finished. Okay, so adding the shading. So we don't want to push down too dark because, you know, in comparison to this video, those shadows are the darkest area, so we still want to see a little bit of orange, just kind of like you still see a little bit of yellow in that bucket. So this bucket was made of plastic, so it's a little reflective. This mug is ceramic and it has a glaze, so it's shinier too. So again, it's a little reflective as well, but yet you still see a little orange in there. So kind of like what you did over here. You don't want to make it too dark. So start light, and again, when you are shading, using the side of your pencil instead of, going right at the top. So an up and down motion makes a nice even look. You can start shading along with me. And you know, if I go too fast, pause. If you're going a little faster, just skip ahead. Okay, so I'd say that would be a good darkest version of that shade. Then for the next two, so about here and here, I would say that was about the same. I think I'm gonna look at this a little bit differently. Maybe tilt it. I mean, this area is pretty orange, but it gets kind of darker. Pictures don't do the greatest justice. You know, again, if you were in class with me, we would just be looking at a real still life and observing, which is a little trickier. But I think these two areas are kind of the same in value. I feel like it, once it gets back here, it kind of gets a little lighter. So, then a lighter shade along the edge. Okay, and thinking about how you want it to be smooth and blending in. So just lifting your pencil up a little bit more. That up and down motion. And if you ever feel like, oh, I made it too dark, then feel free to take that eraser. Like in here it's a little dark. I'm going to take that eraser and just lift up some of that pencil mark very lightly. And then as you get towards this area right here, the brightest area, you want to light. Ooh, turned a little yellow right here. I think it's because when I erased over here, that smeared. So good to know when you're erasing with your eraser, that can happen. You know, maybe trying to clean that up before you just erase on a fresh page takes that extra yellow and black off, mostly. I'm going to cover that up anyway. Okay, I think that's what I want to do. Before I color all this in orange, though, I'm just going to go ahead and add that shade up here. So same idea, just like what you did with the yellow bucket. I would even say the same exact shade as well. And then there's this little spot right here, kind of have the same thing right here where it starts to fade into the brightness of the yellow. So do the same thing, do that before you start to color. So I'm just thinking about how dark I made that area. I'm going to do the same over here. And then just make a little light transition. Ooh, a little bit lighter than that. Alrighty, so start with your orange. You're going to go ahead and color in your orange part of the mug. And you're just going to push down. No shading here, just adding that bright color, giving some life to your still life. Again, trying to make it a nice even shade. Alrighty, and then with your yellow, if you have different shades of yellow, this is a very bright yellow. This yellow is more a little like a mustard colored yellow, like a darker mustard. You can use that. I'm just using the same yellow. Some of you just have the same shades, that's okay. So, alright, then you're just going to go ahead and color in the rim of this mug. Making sure everything you're coloring in is nice and solid. And then you can go ahead and color the inside. I'd suggest coloring in, you know, the white first, and then once you get into the shaded area, do that last. Okay. Alrighty. So that is your cup. I'm just gonna clean up my edges a little bit more. I'm kind of double checking. Your mug. Oh, and don't forget to do the shadow. So finish that in. So this is a little trickier. Your shadow starts about right here, and again, making it as dark as those other shadows that you added. With this, get the ground, and then if you have to, if you feel like, just to kind of match the shadow throughout, you might have to go over some of the areas again. So this bottle right here, this bottle's pretty dark, but I would say, kind of going up here, I would go back over as best I can. It's a little tricky going over this colored pencil once you've added so much. And just giving that kind of that look. And showing that bottle look and kind of going back over some of this area. And gives a shadowy look right there. All right. Step 6. Yep, we got the apple next, and then the background. We're getting there. All right, nice job, everybody.